Guess what? Market Watch is back, everyone. And so with that said, let's take a look at the financial markets with One America's Sarah Pila, who joins us live in studio. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Cassie. Well, I'm not sure if you're into hockey, but for those sports fans that are eager to catch a Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Tampa Bay Lightning, well, tickets are in very high demand. So prices to get you into the game are on par with the Super Bowl and that so-called fight of the year between Mayweather and Pacquiao. So what's the big deal, right? Well, Chicago hockey fans, they're looking for the once-in-a-lifetime chance to see the Blackhawks raise the Stanley Cup on their home ice. Now, that's something that hasn't been done since 1938. Now, they've won the Cup a few times since 38, but not on their home ice. So that is the big deal, and tickets have exploded on the secondary market. Game 6 is expected to be the highest-selling Blackhawks game ever in StubHub history. So the types of prices that we're talking about, I mean, more than $900 for standing room only, and if you want to actually sit, we'll plan on paying anywhere from $2,000, who knows if they're even that cheap right now, and upwards of 29 grand. So I don't know about you, Cassie, I've got certain teams I love, but I don't think I could dish out that much dough even if I had it to see it in person. All right, let's go ahead and do the numbers. We're in our last hour of trading here. As you can see, we've been down all day. The trend is just going to continue. Investors are definitely a little fearful. Greece is in the spotlight as usual, and as that deadline approaches, we can see the direct effect here in our markets at home. So here we have the blue chip index down about 108 points, the NASDAQ down about 23, and the S&P 500 down about 10 points. So that's kind of how the numbers are looking right now. Cassie, I'll be back next hour with a wrap up of the entire day, but that's what's happening currently.
Thank you. Well, Sarah, back to the hockey for a second.
Sure.
You know, that's a lot of money, and especially considering my thing is there's always about a 4-second delay between where the puck actually is and where I think it is. I don't know if that's your experience watching hockey, but it is
tough to keep track of it, and I don't know if you're actually at the game, you can see it better, but I don't know. For the type of prices that they're offering, I mean, $900 standing room only, come on now. It's going to be much better watching it on your couch anyway, let's face it.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you. Thank you very much for that update, Sarah, and we'll be checking in with you soon.
You got it, Cassie. Thank you.
All right, Standard Pacific, as we move on here, Standard Pacific and Ryland have agreed to a $5.2 billion merger, and Fred Katayama has more on the deal between two of the country's largest home builders and the impact it could have.
Standard Pacific and Ryland will carry each other over the threshold. The home builders are merging in a $5.2 billion deal.
All right, well, you know how some people go to CVS for one thing and they end up buying 47? Guilty. Well, now CVS knows the feeling. In a $1.9 billion deal, CVS is taking over Target pharmacies in 47 different states all across the country. About 2,000 pharmacies will merge with CVS, and an estimated 80 Target locations are expected to place CVS Minute clinics within the stores. CVS plans to offer positions to Target's 14,000 pharmaceutical practitioners. The deal is expected to be finalized by the end of the year. And iconic firearms maker Colt is now filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The company filed the documents in Delaware and believes the procedure will allow it to sell its facilities to a capital management firm that plans to buy the majority of Colt's assets. Reports say Colt has about $355 million in debt, and the latest move will repay some of its creditors. A spokesman for the gun maker says the restructuring deal will allow Colt to continue making guns at its Connecticut factory. And a small town in Alabama is gaining fame, a store that is in the small town, but not for the items it sells, but rather from where they came. Hint, your suitcase. One America's Christian Ibarra has more on the shop that is making a profit stocking its shelves with your lost luggage.
Approximately 6,000 items cover the 40,000 square feet of racks and shelves at the Unclaimed Baggage Center in Scottsboro, Alabama. True to its name, about 85% of those items come from lost airline luggage. Airlines misplaced over 20 million bags in 2013, an improvement from the nearly 47 million bags they lost in 2007. The store carries items like iPads, moose antlers, and even platinum Rolex watches, all at a discounted price. It was founded in 1970 when former owner Doyle Owens borrowed $300 to buy his first truckload of unclaimed baggage, which becomes airline property after 90 days. The company buys any unclaimed luggage in bulk without looking at any individual bags. Items are sorted and only the best products are placed on the retail floor. The rest are donated globally through an in-house charity. For sanitary purposes, the retailer also doubles as one of the largest dry cleaning facilities in Alabama. It is currently the only known store of its kind. Christian Ibarra, One American News.
All right, well, that becomes my new standard for packing my suitcase. If I'm willing to have it end up at the unclaimed baggage store, I shouldn't pack it in the first place, right? Coming up next on One American News, today marks 800 years since the sealing of the Magna Carta, and we are taking a look at that moment in history as One American News continues. Welcome back. Just a terrible tragedy. A girl has died after she was found Friday unconscious on a roller coaster in Southern California. This is according to Los Angeles medical officials who say she died in a hospital over the weekend. A 10-year-old girl was still breathing when her ride on the Revolution roller coaster at Six Flags Magic Mountain ended. Firefighters quickly responded to the scene and she was eventually airlifted to a nearby hospital. It is unclear at this time whether her death was directly caused by the ride. Meantime, beaches in North Carolina remain open today, just one day after two teenagers were mauled in separate shark attacks. Visitors are now being urged to take basic safety precautions if they do decide to swim in the water there. Officials say the two teens were in only waist-high water. They weren't that far out when the attacks occurred. They're now said to be in stable condition. At a press conference today, officials credited the life-saving efforts to beach bystanders and quick responses from 911 call centers and emergency workers.
The bystanders to go ahead and start the process of stopping the bleeding. That was the biggest concern with these patients was the blood loss, and without that, we would have had a different outcome.
At present, experts are trying to figure out if the attacks were caused by the same shark. Here's Sandy Cazell with the latest.
Two separate shark attacks leave two teens seriously injured on the North Carolina coast.
Well, this story is cool in all senses of the word. Researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology successfully create the coldest molecule ever made on Earth. The molecule was formed by freezing sodium-potassium gas to half of 1/1,000,000th of a degree above absolute zero, or minus 460 degrees Fahrenheit. How cold can you go? Scientists say the experiment will allow them to observe exotic forms of matter that only exist at ultra-cold temperatures. The breakthrough proves that molecules this cold don't experience any friction, and that is something that has never been seen before. Physicists say the molecules could be used to build super-fast computers. Cool, again, but can they build a bridge on their own? To Amsterdam we go, where that's what's happening. A new pedestrian bridge is set to be constructed, and that's not the story. The story is a robot is the one building this bridge using 3D printing. The metal printing firm MX3D is preparing to use its robot to print the structure in midair. The robot will be printing in steel before welding the structure, constructing its own support along the way. If only we could do that, construct our own support along the way. Literally, figuratively, everything. The company says the final design and exact location of the bridge will be announced soon. Completion is expected by 2017, but we are not complete just yet. Stay with me. Today marks 800 years since the sealing of the Magna Carta, and we're taking a look at that moment in history as One America's Evening News continues.